All right, what's going on, guys? So I got this plasma cutter on Amazon. We're gonna review it, check it out, see how well it cuts, how thick a metal we can cut, how thin a metal we can cut, how clean a cuts we can get. You know, just go through the whole thing and check it out and see if it's worth buying. It's a Simder Cut 50 inverter technology plasma cutter. It's supposed to be a 50 amp model. We're gonna test that too. We're gonna test that and see if it lives up to its name. Dual voltage, 110, 220. Let's get to it, guys. All right, so here's the plasma cutter torch. It's a non-contact pilot arc, which means you don't have to touch that metal on there to get started cutting, so you can cut right through paint and everything. So here it is, Simder Cut 50 plasma cutter. Looks pretty cool. I like the yellow, that's different. We got a nice heavy duty power cord, fan in the back, on off right here. Then we have gas right here. This is where our air compressor air is gonna hook up. It's got a little mesh filter in there. Gas and current. So this should be a 50 amp model. Grounding clamp, trigger, air for the torch. So it's a dual voltage model. It comes with the adapter in the box, 220 or 110. All right, grounding clamp. Air regulator right here. Some fittings, a little bit of hose, and then we got the torch in here. All right, I got the air regulator all hooked up. I got the high flow air fittings on here that I like to use. So the air regulator isn't in PSI, kilogram F per centimeter squared, and MPa, I don't know what that is. So all the tests were performed from 40 PSI to 60 PSI depending on material thickness. I definitely change this out for a PSI gauge. Ignore the flashing, it's just the camera. All right, so for controls, we got gas and then amperage. This is almost like a post flow. It determines how much air comes out once you let go of the trigger. You put it right here and the air shuts off immediately when you let go of the trigger. And you put it right here and the air keeps flowing after you let go of the trigger to help cool the tip. Then we got 0 amps up to 52 amps. All right, so I got nice clean grounds under the grounding clamp. If you see me cutting rusty metal, it's clean under the grounding clamp. I promise I have a nice ground. 20 amps. It's 110 volts. '16 gauge. Like butter. Oh my gosh. '1/8 inch. Painted metal. This thing is cutting like butter. That's 1/8 inch and it just took it right off. 1/4 inch. All right, so you can see right here, I kept tripping the breaker on 110 volts. This was plugged into a 20 amp outlet. 110 volts max. It cut it, but it tripped the breaker. 25.47 amps, that's great, guys. So if you're gonna use this machine for 110, I'd recommend about 20 amps only, or else it's gonna trip the breaker. All right, so 110 volts. Cutting thin metal, 22 gauge up to 1/4 inch. It'll cut it. You gotta turn the machine down so it doesn't trip the breaker. Those glasses aren't cutting it. I'm wearing my welding helmet this time. 220, 20 amps, 16 gauge. '8 inch. Butter. 35 amps. 1/8 inch. .3 amps. 1/4 inch plate. not bad. It's a pretty clean cut. It's got a good bit of dross on there, but we need to dial in the settings. 3/8 inch. All right, here's a cut on 3/8 inch. 1/2 inch. All right, that worked. It's got a good bit of dross. I'd call it a shear cut. 220 volts crank to the max. 3/4 inch. 52 amps. I'm impressed, guys. It cut that 3/4 inch. I'd say that's probably the max. 42.8 amps. Let's see how clean it'll cut. 16 gauge. Pretty clean cut. Nice and straight. 1/4 inch. Pretty clean cut, guys. Nice and straight. All right, guys, so I like the plasma cutter. The positives: it did a great job and it cut everything we threw at it. It had a lot of power for cutting that thick steel. I did not expect it to cut that, but it cut right through it. It's nice and small and compact. It weighs next to nothing. The torch is really nice. The trigger's really nice. It's got good consumables. Those are cheap to replace. The consumables are cheap. You can get them on Amazon, bulk pack. Those aren't a problem to source at all. My favorite thing about this torch is the tip. It's got a drag tip, so you can set it right on the surface of the metal and drag it and cut it, and it's not a problem. You don't have to hold it off the material, which makes it way easier to cut metal. It's got a nice fabric material around the torch lead, and the torch lead is plenty long. All right, so 110 volts. Cutting thin metal, 22 gauge up to 1/4 inch. It'll cut it. You gotta turn the machine down so it doesn't trip the breaker, but it'll slice through it with some patience. If you turn the machine up to its max though, it'll instantly trip the breaker, obviously. Just like all the other dual voltage plasma machines. 220 volts, 22 gauge, up to 3/4 inch. It cut the 3/4 inch. I can't believe it did it. It did it. Just had to go a little slower, but it did it. That really shocked me and impressed me. This thing will cut any type of metal: brass, steel, copper, aluminum, you know, it just has to conduct electricity. All right, so the negatives, there isn't many. The ground clamp could stand to be upgraded, and the lead is pretty short. That's easy to upgrade. The air regulator, so it's really cheap. Just get another one. It's not that big a deal. It was annoying and it was making noise. So if you heard that noise, it was just the air regulator. Just get another one. They're cheap. And it's not in PSI, so you can get one that's in PSI. It was putting out pretty much its max rated current, which is good. It'd be nice if it was just a little bit stronger, but it cut 3/4 inch steel like that, so it's good, right? Overall, it's a nice machine. Links in the description if y'all want to check it out. I'll check y'all out in the next one. Later.